Okay, it's 6 o'clock. And I need to call the Blair Township Board of Trustee regular meeting of January 10th, 2023 to order. Join me for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Knight,
Here.
Reed,
Present.
Campbell,
Here.
Fitzpatrick,
Here.
Wolfgang,
Here.
Kutra,
Here.
Longtime.
Here. Brief public input. Approval of the agenda.
I would make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict? Presentation and special reports. Brad will be here after Garfield meeting to report to us. Karczewski was not able to attend tonight. Here's his report. I guess I'll read it so the public can hear it. CPO stats: arrests 3, citation 1, complaints 45, traffic crashes 5, warrants attained 4, warrants declined 1. On December 12th, he met with a man and his family at Munson. The man reported to him that his wife kicked him very hard in the lower back on December 9th. He initially did not want to report the domestic assault. Sheriff deputies were at the home for domestic disturbance 2 times after he was kicked, and he made no report. Days later, with his spleen slowly bleeding, he was throwing up, barely able to stand, and passing out. Emergency surgery was performed. The prosecuting attorney has issued an aggravated domestic assault warrant for the female. On December 22nd, a 16-year-old girl reported to her mom that her 52-year-old stepdad/uncle had been texting inappropriate messages. The messages were graphic, and he was asking to have sex with her. I have completed a preliminary interview and have set up a child forensic interview at the Michigan Advocacy Center. My concern is that there was sexual contact between the 2 parties. Cadillac converter thefts are back. Over Christmas break, businesses on East Commerce were hit by several converter thefts. Security cameras in more than one business captured thefts. However, the video was very dark and no identifiable things were noticed. These are not the same suspects that we arrested last winter. The Road Commission Treasurer's Report.
General Fund, $5,199,964. Public Safety Fund, $661,655. Ambulance Fund is $854,820. Metro Act Fund is $29,977. Liquor Law Enforcement is $42,456. Milfoil Fund is $7,871. Emergency Services Building is $5,754,608. Sewer Fund is $1,837,792. Water Fund is $3,501,057. Current tax collections is a credit of $69,489. Payroll Fund is $120 for a total of $17,820 or $820,830.48.
Announcements and correspondence. Water Loss Committee update.
Well, well, we talked about leak protection again. And we're not sure which way to go on this, whether we purchase our own or look into purchasing our own or look into companies that do this. There's a company out of Ohio, I think you've used before, Aqualine. That's all they do. They come in, I talked to a person today, but couldn't give me the information I needed to call me back. So I was just trying to get information to present to the board, so.
Patrick, is that the company that came in like 2015 or 16?
No, they were here, I want to say it was between 2005 and 2007. Do you
Thanks.
remember what year they were, Carl, when they came in? That was before I was here.
Yeah, no, I was in that area someplace.
Okay.
And so far, 26, I believe it's residential meters have been changed out.
How many?
26?
Yeah, there's one left. 2111 Sadie Lane, we're having a hard time getting a hold of them.
So there's 40, so there's 39 changed out.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we found an extra one in there too. There was one on Flamingo we went to when it was PG.
And we discussed, Patrick kind of would like to know if it would be possible with the Silversmith company, if we could get, instead of having one GPS device, if it could be two. And I think they're 27.
There is two.
There is two,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, we got, because we looked at it, I thought it just said one on the bill. Okay.
Well, I got both bills, well, I got a bill for one and all the other stuff, and then I got a bill for
Oh, okay.
another one, so.
All right, I was just missing a bill.
Yeah.
And so, other than that, we have nothing to add to it.
And everybody's got their picture of their nice little generator. Thanks to Patrick and Ryan and Jordan and Don
Yeah.
for getting the generator. We were thinking that maybe in that big snowstorm that we had, it would get put to work, but it was good.
How,
They were good.
how long will that tank last? How long will it run the generator?
I don't know how long it will run for, but I do know it will run at least for 2 days on that one tank.
Oh,
And it's running every other Wednesday for 15 minutes.
yeah.
So, I think we're gonna get some kind of a gauge on there to tell us how much is left in the tank.
Yeah, there should be one.
Then you can wiggle the tank to see how full it is. 100
Okay.
And at some point, we're gonna build we need to build a little enclosure over that propane tank and the generator,
Oh,
just to keep the weather out.
They do make a valve that you can hook two tanks together and turn one tank on, turn them both on, and then when the one runs empty, it
Goes to the
pops
other.
up red so you know it's there, and then
Okay.
you just switch the thing over. We got that on our camper and it
Okay.
works slick,
And that's something, we can add another tank really easy.
you know, so.
I think we got that one at Menards. So it'd be easy to add another second tank.
And I submitted all the paperwork and documentation today to the park plan because we were awarded some grant money to help offset the cost of this.
Good.
And then I noticed that their next grant cycle opens up February 1st, so I'm willing to write for a grant for a leak detector. And I know the park plan board of directors has said that they are always looking for innovative, new ideas for risk management, risk loss, risk prevention. And I think a leak detector would fall into that category. And I scrolled through previous grant awards, and I've not seen any other municipality apply for a leak detector, so.
Oh,
Next month's board meeting, I'll ask the board if we can adopt a resolution that will allow me to apply for $5,000 towards a leak detector, but it'll offset part of the cost, which maybe enable us to upgrade if we buy one ourselves. And Patrick has all this information for the generator, so when he gets his Silversmith program, it'll be one of the assets that they can plug into the program.
And I'll send the information to Jamie and Eagle about the generator. They always love to see that stuff, so.
Thank you. I'm sure you guys have all heard, big thanks to the county commissioners who awarded us $225,000 in ARPA funding towards the grant request that we submitted. It was a little bit shy of the $4.2 million that I requested. But it's a start. And the scoring, I was shocked at the $225,000. I was at that meeting, and I'm glad that I was. I was not expecting to get called to the podium, nor was I expecting us to receive anything, because we had scored in Tier 2, and it was RPAC's recommendation to finance the Tier 1 group. And in that same meeting, a county commissioner made a motion to actually increase that grant award amount to $2.25 million. And then that motion received support, which I was then about ready to really fall out of my chair, and then it went to a roll call, and we missed it by a 3-4 vote, but almost.
That's close.
Almost. I do know that they stuck away $3 million for non-earmarked allocations. And I know that the county commission is really recognizing the critical infrastructure is a necessity to meet some of the high demand requests that they've received, so we'll start with that.
Great work.
Good.
Just a reminder that our ARPA public input meeting is scheduled for January 19th at 5:30 here. It's informal, just an opportunity for anybody from the public who wants to come in and share their thoughts and opinions on our own allocation of our dollars. Multiple meetings with the Wallet construction team who's proposing the workforce housing apartment complex. They've asked about a pilot ordinance. We don't have one. Blair Township's never had one. So I was thinking at that same meeting on January 19th, if I could get 1 or 2 of the local area experts on pilot ordinances to come in, just as an educational, informational meeting for us on pilot program ordinances. There's several different ways to do them. I haven't heard back, but I'll just shoot an email if Tony from Traverse City Housing Commission, and Chuck Horn is another one. I wouldn't call him an expert, but he's probably pretty close as far as other townships board members. Garfield Township probably has the most pilot programs next to the city. So. Active shooter training, we tried to do this, if you guys remember, a couple years ago. And the sheriff deputy who performs this training had a medical emergency. The class had to be canceled. And then there was never any real follow through. So we have it scheduled March 31st here, 3 p.m. It's for all employees. I had told Linetti to let her election workers. I asked the captain of the sheriff's department if he wanted to do 2 separate trainings, one for election workers, one for us and employees. He said, no, let's just do one big one. Doesn't matter how many people are there. So I'll send out a reminder email to everybody and to all the employees. And the corrective action plan, our response to the Department of Treasury was put in the packet. Any other announcements or correspondence? Consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such request will be automatically respected.
I just want to let everybody know, I didn't have the check register for the emergency services building done in time to get in the packet, but I have put it on your desk tonight.
Yep.
So I would move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar as presented. Any further discussion? I just want to point out, I'm sure you guys all saw it, but our ordinance enforcement officers report to us.
Yeah.
Did you guys see he's cranking out
Yeah, it was-
some notices and making some good contacts with people. And there's been a whole lot of stuff cleaned up in a pretty short period of time, just with his follow through, his noticing it, his responding to complaints, and then his follow through with the complaints.
I was pretty impressed with what it
Yep,
said.
yep, and I've heard
Yeah.
him several times, talking and communicating with our residents and offering suggestions for solutions and,
Right.
resources available through Grand Traverse County. So the more he's learning the resources that are available to our people, I think the more effective he is becoming. But his
Yeah.
numbers are pretty staggering, and there's been some dangerous buildings cleaned up that have been needed to be cleaned up for years, so. Any further discussion? A roll call vote?
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Sunshine,
What do we roll call?
The consent calendar.
Oh. You lost me.
Sunshine,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Zeiss,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
No, I haven't finished it there.
I know.
Old business, new business. Number one. Ordinance amendment number 14218-23. Ordinance addressing floodplain management provisions of the state construction code.
We currently have ordinance 142-18 that was passed in 2018, but they have done a new study. The only thing that has changed in this ordinance is in section 3, the study number, the effective date, and which panels are included in that. It's in italics, bold. So we just need to adopt this amendment so it can be sent to FEMA so that we will be covered under the counties.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, to adopt ordinance number 142-18-23.
Support. It's been moved and supported to adopt ordinance number 142-18-23, the ordinance addressing floodplain management provisions of the state construction code. Any further discussion? We'll sign this and we'll email it to them tomorrow.
Yep. Well, I gotta get the intergovernmental agreement from the county too. They need to sign that, and then I'll send everything.
Roll call?
Lees,
Yes.
Zeiss,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Sunshine.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Amend policy 2021-11, post audit policy.
Well, since we no longer use IT right, we need to remove IT right. I think instead of putting down Anavan, we should just say computers and IT. I mean,
That would be fine.
something
Yeah.
like that,
Generic, yep.
because,
It could change.
in case we change again,
Yeah.
then we don't have to,
IT provider.
well, and I want to make sure, not just for services, we also want it for if we need to purchase a computer. Which, might not be from our provider,
Correct.
maybe from somebody else. And then we need to delete Acumed, EMS, and fire billing as we no longer use them.
I'd make a motion to amend policy number 2021-11, post-audit policy.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to amend policy 2021-11, post audit policy. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Lunshine,
Yes.
Seitz,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Item 3, recommendation of appointment to the Planning Commission. I put my letter of request in the packet along with the email that I had received. I've had a couple conversations with Carl. And so it is my recommendation that we appoint Carl Behringer to the vacant seat on the Blair Township Planning Commission, effective immediately with a term ending November 30th of 2025.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Campbell,
Yes.
Seitz,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
I just say thank you, Carl.
Yes.
I appreciate your desire to become.
Back in the early 20s, or 2000s, and I enjoyed it.
Those 1820s.
Yeah, 1820s.
Can you come in sometime, well, or even before, what, the next planning commission is a week from tomorrow? So I can swear you in.
Swear.
Yeah.
First time.
I'll work on getting you a zoning ordinance book, getting all the information put together tomorrow. Number 4, approval of spring 2023 Township Cleanup Day, May 6, 2023. I couldn't remember, you guys, if we had already picked a date for that. But Trace had that date
I don't
in her
remember.
newsletter that she gave us, so I'm like, well, she didn't just make that date up. We must have.
No, I made it up.
Oh, you did?
Well, good.
Well, nicely done, because that's the date that worked for our Grandpa's Garage
Okay.
and American Waste, where they're not busy with all the other cleanup, so good call.
I make a motion to approve spring 2023 Township cleanup date, May 6, 2023.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5, approval of lot separation for property number 430-033-00 and 430-034-00. This is over in the Ironwoods. It's actually called a technical, yeah, it's on Sugar Maple, which is in the Ironwoods. Which is Meadow Woods platted subdivision, yes. And it's a platted subdivision, so this legally and technically doesn't have to go through the land division. What it is, you saw the letter that the person wrote to me. Somehow, prior to 1989, these two lots, which we still have them in our records as to, at some point became one. But there's no record in the assessing database, there's no record in our zoning, and like I said, we have them on our roll as two separate lots as this. So my guess is he went to try to sell, and something popped up somewhere. So you can see the letter from Lisa. We're within our legal right to just go ahead and grant officially this separation, even though it's already separated in our records with two separate parcel numbers.
I'd make a motion to approve lot separation for property number 430-033-00 and 430-034-00.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to separate property number 430-033-00 and 430-034-00. Any further discussion? I did speak to this landowner today and told him if he would just make sure, because I'm assuming that he's gonna try to sell one of these, that if there's a shed on this property, which the aerial shows there's a shed, that it's 10 foot off, that meets the setbacks. He said, no problem. Roll call?
Please,
Yes.
Lunshine,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Item 6, review and approval of township newsletter.
Thanks.
Yep, the only thing I saw, and I talked to Tracy about this earlier, was, the email addresses need to be changed to the mi.gov.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't double check the dates. Just that,
Well,
like,
we haven't
that's Good Friday.
adopted, the only one that is actually been approved is April 7th is Good Friday, but I was working on, because we won't set the paid holidays for July till budget time. But I think these are, I think these are the same dates I had proposed on. Yeah.
And there's only 8. I think usually we have like a couple more, but
Well,
Because it's not
this
election
year
year.
we did because of elections, yeah.
And then you need to change my phone number because I don't have a landline anymore. I have 883-8265.
Yeah, mine's the same too. I don't have a landline anymore.
so yours isn't 946?
No, 649-4054.
And, can we, it's, I don't know if there'll be room. Can we stick Jordan's name on here too?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I thought about this earlier and then I forgot about it. My thing didn't get in here
What thing?
that I sent you about,
Okay.
proposal 2022-2
Well, that's in here.
or
Yeah.
3?
Voter, no? Huh. Yeah, I had it in there. I'll put it back in there.
Didn't make the cut around the new
Yeah.
emergency services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get a whole
Yeah, I had it in
page
there.
just about,
The Easter egg hunt, Turtle Creek Stadium this year. My one, he is Mickey and I had planned that. Well, and I guess in Kendall, and Kendall's still there. Mickey's gone. I have not heard that that's changed at all, so I think we're probably safe to put Turtle Creek, but I will make a phone call
Tomorrow?
tomorrow to
Okay.
the new marketing manager, Mickey. I guess it's a woman. I haven't met her yet. I'll verify that
Okay.
tomorrow.
you sure we can't change that date?
The Easter egg hunt? I'm just kidding.
That's
Is
the-
that Easter? I've
It's the
already
day
looked at
before
that.
Easter.
Well, it's my birthday. As long as I can get up early on my birthday, to get there at 10.
Yeah, it's usually done by 10:05.
It's gonna be at Turtle Creek, so it's gonna be different this year, bigger and better.
As long as we don't have snow.
In the Hoosier Valley Cleanup Day, we didn't do a Hoosier Valley Cleanup Day. This spring, we need to do a Hoosier Valley Cleanup Day. I can just leave it at that. We need to do a Hoosier Valley Cleanup Day. I can make the phone calls to the DNR again, try to get at least one dumpster donated, one paid for by them. And I probably can get grandpas to donate one, you know, just by dropping it off. but we really need to do a Hoosier Valley cleanup day. It's pretty bad again.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, it's almost like the harder our enforcement officer works, the more dumping that starts taking place. So it's, I think if we go through and do one big cleanup in the spring, and again, we didn't do it this spring, so we're behind. I guess we can talk about that at next month's meeting, but if you guys remember, the one time we did it the middle of May, that's almost too late because the ferns are up and the ticks are out and the snakes were out and so maybe looking at Township cleanup day on the 6th. I don't know. I guess if we still have 2 feet of snow in April.
Well, we could do it after the spring clean, or the 6th. When we get done with that, we'll.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Takes a week to be able to walk again. Maybe the 20th. We'll talk about it at our next. That's all I have. Chris, Chris is here. He was in our consent calendar and I kind of forgot.
Brad's here.
Oh, and Brad's here.
All right. Board discussion going on.
Good evening, Brad Hewitt, Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, District 4 now instead of District 3. Commissioner Seifert is here tonight too, so he can, if I miss anything, he can add anything that he needs to add. But anyway, December 21st, 22, our last meeting of the year, we did allocate our ARPA funds, and we did allocate $225,000 towards Blair Township. And forgive me, I forgot what that project was for, but my mind's been looking at 100 of them projects, so.
Water.
Water, okay. But anyway, we did allocate 225 for Blair. January 3rd, we did have our swearing in, which was a Tuesday evening. And on January 4th, we had our organizational meeting, and the biggest changes there was we will start our meetings now at 9 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, and also study sessions if we have them and stuff like that. We elected a chair, which is Commissioner Henschel, and the vice chair, which is myself again. So, and then just one shout out, which I mentioned out there, was to Denise Schmuckel. She retired at the end of December there after 33 years of a victim advocate for victims of various crimes and everything. So her expertise will definitely be missed and everything like that. So, but anyway, it's pretty short. That's all I have for tonight. Just till the end of the year and wrap things up. We didn't have much on our agenda at the first of the year here and stuff like that. But does anybody have any questions or comments for me?
I had a big thank you at the
Yes,
beginning of
thank
our
you.
meeting to the Grand Traverse County Commissioners for the ARPA funding. We appreciate it
Okay.
a lot.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your attempt to increase that. I
Yeah.
told them I about fell out of my chair because I was not expecting that.
Well, we tried. Like I think I've mentioned many times, we had $18 million to work with. The county did keep back $300 million, or $3 million, $3 million to cover what we figured was lost revenues and stuff like that. So we had the other $15 million that we allocated, and we had 112 applications, I believe it was. So a lot of good projects out there and stuff like that, and it was a really tough decision. The ARPA committee did a lot of work for us. It was the information we received as commissioners was very well organized, very well laid out, very well spelled out and stuff. So they did the heavy lifting between them and administration and everything. And there's still going to be a lot of heavy lifting going on with these funds as they get dispersed and keeping track of them and reporting them and everything like that. But the biggest thanks really should go out to the ARPA committee and administration, because they took the bulk of the load and everything. So.
I think as a resident, I think I said it at the meeting, my biggest thank goes out to the commission and the administration for the thought that they put into how to disperse that money and forming that RPAC committee and the grant application and having a separate committee review, score, tier, I said it, I would not have wanted to be in one of your guys' seats with all of those requests that came in. And also worthy.
Yeah,
You know what
they
I mean?
were-
I
they were-
mean,
that's
they
what-
all meant something to somebody.
That's what made it really hard, you know,
Yeah.
because we heard.
Yeah.
We heard from probably almost every applicant in some way, shape, or form and
Yeah.
everything, and they all have great stories behind it and really a great selling pitch and everything, so it was pretty hard. Now, I will say, speaking of the RPAC committee, there were several members on there that were involved within different organizations that applied, but they did recluse themselves from, you know, helping to categorize
Scores.
them and sort them and everything like that, so. And I've not heard any complaints about that, but I just want to point out that those particular members did remove themselves from any kind of decision-making on how that ranked and everything, so I think that really shows a lot of people, the caliber of people we had on that RPAC, you know, because they didn't have to remove themselves from that and everything, so. But the RPAC did a tremendous amount of work, and honestly, they probably put more hours into it than we did, you know, just to get everything to the point it was to get in front of us, so big thanks to them and everything. And on the $3 million that the county kept back, we figured we had about $2.3 million in loss, and the other $700,000 is to actually cover the future expenses of allocating this money and also the consultant and everything like that, because there was expenses there and everything, and we can use that money towards that and stuff too, so that's why we ended up with $3 million to keep back, because we figured it's gonna cost probably $750,000 to see the end of this and everything. So.
I thought you were gonna say that you were gonna give the 700,000 to Blair Township.
No, I tried to get more than that going, but you know what? It was not the consensus of the board, so, but you know.
Good try.
Everybody kind of fought for projects they really believed into in their townships, and I
Yeah.
respect everybody for that, so.
Yeah, and several of your colleagues talked to me afterwards, you know, and it was a hard decision. It's a
Yeah.
hard decision because we need the increased capacity and the treatment capacity in order for the workforce housing, which was one of the top 5 priorities, was workforce housing to address the housing crisis.
Yep.
And we've got workforce housing who's looking at putting in a daycare, which childcare is another one of the top priorities that constituents want to see. So it's hard.
Yeah.
Where do you disperse the money?
And I see the other commissioners' aspect on that, you know, they wanted to help get that housing and childcare here. My position on it was, we can build all the buildings we want, but
Right.
if we can't get water and sewer to them, they're just gonna be empty buildings.
Right.
That's my stance, everybody has their own
Right.
opinion on that, so that's just my opinion, but, anyway, we did allocate $225,000 to the township, so.
And we appreciate that. It's a start, and we have every intention of applying for some state money and some
Yep.
federal dollars that are out there. Our intent to apply has already been submitted, and we're just waiting for that grant period to open, and
Yep.
we'll submit very similar grant that we
And
did
that's
for this.
some of the new funding that's supposed to come out, we don't even know about it, but, you know, we don't even know numbers or when for sure. I mean, we've heard
Yeah.
various dates and everything like that, but there could possibly be other pots of money coming out for different infrastructure type projects and stuff, and that's what they.
There's $1 billion out right now that's coming out for water and sewer.
Well, that's what they claim, I mean, that's why I say
Yeah.
we've heard a lot of different things, but, you know, at the end of the day, $1 billion is still
Right.
not a lot of money when you divvy it up east coast, west coast, north and south, you know, because I think we could spend $1 billion here alone in infrastructure in our various townships, honestly, you know, so. But anyway, if anybody has any questions or comments, my contact information is on the county website. I'll hang around for the next few minutes here and stuff, and go from there, but please feel free to reach out. Does anybody have any questions for me? Comments? Okay. Well, thank you.
Come on up, Scott.
I'll leave it up to Scott.
Thanks. Hi, my name's Scott Seifert. I'm new county commissioner and the new District 8. I think it's new. I mean, there was 9 before, right? Does anybody remember?
No, or, yeah.
I think it was a long time ago, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it's new. I think it's District, or Precinct 2 for Blair County is what I cover in my district. I don't know how that works. I was not involved in the ARPA. Fortunately, they took care of all that. I didn't have to do any heavy lifting.
Phew, huh?
Right, I know. I was watching it. We were there. I was there for most of the meetings except for the very end. So, one other thing that they changed aside from what Brad was talking about, or Mr. G was talking about, was that Leland County wanted to split up a couple of county court employees, and it wasn't much more money than they were already spending, they did it, and Leland County's paying for that, so it was a win on that. And again, I'll hang out for a minute. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm gonna do my best to be here every time, so, and my contact information is also on the website, and when we see fit to get cards, I'll hand everybody some cards out, and I'll be around to answer some questions, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Chris?
Good evening.
Evening, Chris.
Chris Richter with RCI, the construction, representing RCI, the construction manager for the new emergency services building. You've all had an opportunity to review the monthly report. I'm happy to say Mother Nature is certainly working well with us. Pardon me. Concrete foundations on the building are all complete on the exterior. The only thing we have left to do on the north end of the building is some interior footings. The retaining walls are in construction right now, which is the last phase of the concrete foundations. The west walls or foundation footings were poured today. So every day there's progress out there. I'm sure Mr. Zeitz, you've been keeping a close eye on the boys out there, and we're making progress every day. Again, I can't say enough about the weather to try and start a project at the early winter and have this luck. Elmer's is backfilling progressively as the foundations are completed and inspected. So again, dirt's not frozen. Things have been going very, very well. Our fingers are crossed that maybe the month of February will be our only, February is going to be winter.
Yeah.
But we're prepared for it. Bay Masonry stopped by the site yesterday, and they are planning about 3 weeks. They're going to start laying up walls. So we're tracking very close. We had some early delays administratively, but as far as the schedule being reset, any updates, I've said it before and I'm going to continue to repeat it. Once the masonry is up, we will reset the schedule. As of right now, everything's within a 3-week window, so that shouldn't raise concerns with anyone. Structural steel's all ordered and in production. Structural steel is scheduled for late February. Blocks and roofing build this month for stored materials. We already have the roofing insulation on site at Blocks and Roofing. So things are really coming together fine. D&W Mechanical is out there and did some work, some sleeves and whatnot that they have to do to get roof drains underneath the building foundations. So again, as far as current past weeks and the progress outlook, everything's looking great. As we noted in last month's meeting, again, repeating myself, but if the weather does continue to hold, I feel like it's going to be late February, early March, but we're going to be back on our original schedule that was set in October before we ever broke ground. So really confident in how everything's been going out there. Elmer's doing a great job. Shepherd's Concrete's doing an excellent job. Safety report, as of today, 61 days on site. Working, those are working days. No injuries, no accidents.
Great.
As far as the budget goes, contractor change orders have been issued for completion of the originally incomplete work scopes. If you all remember, there were certain things, packages that weren't bid, didn't get complete bids, some holes that were left due to lack of bidders. We just didn't have, we had some openings, we had some work there that needed to be bid out after the formal process. Owner requested changes, some architectural design corrections, modifications, and other associated design changes. All those costs, as they're being tracked, everything is all well within contingency and allowance funds. Bid packages are going out for the final remaining budget items. Eric Samsel and I have a meeting coming up to finalize cabinetry and countertops, some specialties. The architect is working on a signage package, and the last that didn't initially involve RCI, but we're working to help Eric putting the owner furnishings package together. So there's 5 or 6 packages that are still going to go out. Nothing time critical as of today, but all things that we'd like to wrap up in the next, what did we say, Nicole, at our last meeting? If we can have everything locked in by the end of February, we'll be in good shape. And that'll help us, Tracy, with knowing where our contingencies and allowances stand.
I'm doing good on your interest.
I'm
You're making good interest.
I'm super happy right now with where everything is, but we all know that can change. And at our informal progress meeting last week, we noted the simple fact that that snow, that early snow that hit us so hard and shook us up a little bit, and then that was it. So just think, if that would have kept up, we definitely would be in trouble schedule-wise. So very pleased with progress, and very pleased, and thank you, Tracy, for keeping an eye on the budget. I'm pleased with where everything's came in. It's looking great. I noted in the report, contingency and allowance funds continue to be robust and very healthy at this stage of the project, and there are no current issues or concerns. And that's the end of my report. If Carl, Marilyn, any questions, anybody?
I'm good.
Right now, we're making between $16,000 and $18,000 a month in interest on the money.
And we're keeping a cap on our budget, so
Yeah.
if we can continue this projection, it should deliver
I
success,
know.
right? You know, I'm nervous to say
Going
that
to.
out loud.
It's going to.
No, it will be. It will be.
Great job.
Good.
Great job.
And quite honestly, the month of February is winter, because March, we're already pointing into spring, right? So we keep our fingers crossed.
You're a great project manager.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Nicole. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
I couldn't do it
Extended-
without you guys, seriously. You guys are the key to the success. It takes all of us. You know that. It's a team effort.
Extended public input. Motion to adjourn? 6:50.